Hello everybody, I am Kathy Champion and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I wanted to go over a few things with you. First and foremost, here is our host code for the month of September. So if you do any shopping in my online store, and I will have that linked in the description below, you can click there, and if you make a purchase of $50 or more before taxes and shipping, it has to be the retail amount of your purchase, $50 or more, then you'll get a free gift that will be mailed out to you at the end of the month. So but you have to make sure that when you place your order, it will ask for a host code and you need to plug this in. Otherwise, I don't have a way of knowing that that was what you bought and that you used the host code. So it just makes life a lot easier for everybody, and you get a free gift. So everybody likes something free. I know I do. Okay, the other thing that I want to tell you, I am working on a blog. I have it almost ready. I've got just a few more things to do on it, and then I should have that up and running. What that blog will allow me to do is put a link to it. You can actually go there. You can see the description of all my cards, the list of supplies, as well as the video. So there you'll be able to see the card, click on the video, watch it, and it'll just make life so much easier. There will also be a link there to my online store where you can go and shop. There will also be any promotions. The free gifts will be listed there. A lot of needed information. So just wanted to let you know that that is up and coming. That's something I've been wanting to work on for a while and just had been having some difficulties getting it to come together. All right, we got all of that out of our way. So now we're going to concentrate on what I am going to be doing today. I need to make 3 birthday cards. I have a very, very good friend who has a birthday this month, but also both of my daughters have birthdays this month on the same day, 9 years apart. I know, it's crazy. But anyway, I want to make a birthday card today, and I believe I'm going to make this one for my daughter, my oldest daughter. So I was really inspired by this particular stamp set, Beautiful Friendships, and it says, birthdays are the best days. Angel is my oldest, and yes, her name is Angel, and she has always just loved her birthday. And I did the naughty thing and had the second daughter on her birthday, which at 9 years old, she was not happy. But nevertheless, I thought this would suit her just perfect. So I got my inspiration from Pinterest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of Rich Razzleberry, and you can buy these cardstocks, and I just want to tell you, the richness and the texture, the smoothness of the cardstock. This is the Rich Razzleberry, and you get a pack, a good sized pack. I believe there's 24 sheets in here, and it coordinates so well with so many of the designer series paper. Now I am using an older designer series, and this one was called, and some of you bought this, Pressed Petals specialty designer paper. And this piece right here has always been my absolute favorite, this one that I'm using. And just look at the coordination on this Rich Razzleberry. It is beautiful. So the reason I picked out this color, and I was trying to think what would go with it, and I automatically thought of this. And I'm sorry this is no longer available, but you can also do this with any of the other Stampin' Up! Colors because everything blends together. I'm going to lay my strips over here, and we're going to cut this down into our card base. So I'm going to pull out my Stampin' trimmer. I love, love, love this this paper trimmer. If you are in the market for a good paper trimmer / scoreboard, this thing is fantastic. You have the 2 blades that actually come down where you still have the surface, so you can use either blade. This one, and it rests down here just like this one rests up here. So this is the score blade. The score blade is in the lighter color, and then the darker blade is your cut blade. And these are changeable. Very easy to pop it out and put a new blade in. They are fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And I'm cutting it at 5 1/2. And so now we have an 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 piece, and we're going to score it at 4 1/4. And this gives us our basic A2 size card. Now watch what I'm doing. I'm going to take this dart blade, which is my cut blade, and we'll slide it down. And then I'm going to sit this down, and I'm just going to score. And look at that. We have a scored card. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to get the light to catch it. But it is scored. See how easy it falls? And now we're going to go ahead and put our trimmer away. And I'm going to bring out my bone folder. You always, if you don't have a bone folder, this one is really a great bone folder. And I didn't think it was as nice as this because I had not tried it. I had other bone folders that I was using. But this doesn't feel like plastic. It feels like a real bone. Now, whether it is or not, I don't know. My team leader sent me this when I joined up, so it has our little logo, Blooms and Butterflies, which is fantastic. So anyway, I've got this folded. I also cut out of our gold foil paper 3 pieces of gold foil. Now, these are 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. So you're going to need 3 of them. And then you're also going to need, of your designer series paper, something that will match this, 3 strips that are 5 1/4 by 1 inch. So what we're going to do is something very simple. I think this is going to be a really fun card. It's going to come together really quickly. So all we're going to do is make sure that our petals are going in the proper orientation. I want to make sure that they're going up like that. And all we're going to do is we're going to glue these onto our strip. And if you notice, it's only going to show a little bit on each side. I'm not going to use glue, and I will explain why. Glue does not work well with foil. If you get glue on the foil, it's just a hot mess. And we don't need a hot mess on our card. So I am going to use some of the Stampin' Seal. This is the Plus, and I just want to use the regular. I think the regular Stampin' Seal will work fine for this. I usually save the Plus for my more difficult things. Like if you're sticking on a piece of cardstock that you've embossed, you might want to use the Plus. But all I'm going to do is just run. I'm going to get it started. This does have just a little bit of a learning curve, and if you've watched any demonstrators, you will see that some of us have more difficulty with this than others. But it is just knowing how to put it down. So I'm going to come over on this side and do the same thing, get it over and run it straight down, just like that. Now all I'm going to do is I am going to start at the bottom of this, and I usually start on the side, but because we're butting this directly to the bottom, I'm going to look and make sure when I put that down that I've got about the same amount on each side. So we're just going to lay it right here, just like that, and then pull it up, trying to keep it straight, and all the way up to the top there. Now just to make sure that that's stuck good, I'm just going to go over it with my bone folder and make sure that it was adhered. Now never fear, because we're going to be gluing this to this card, and look how gorgeous that's going to be. That is such a lovely, lovely card. Okay, let's try this one again. We're going to do the Stampin' Seal. And we're going to do it on both sides. Just like that. And let's see if I can figure out which way I want this to go. And you know what, I don't think it matters putting it down on here which way you want it to go, because you can turn these pieces around. So we're just going to worry about getting it stuck down and getting it even. Because think that's going to be the most crucial thing, is just getting it onto your pieces nice and even. All right, one more piece. And I do struggle a little bit with this, I have to admit. And it's all in the way you press it against the paper. I'm so used to the snail that Stampin' Up! Used to carry. So it is a little bit of a learning curve for this, especially when you don't have anything to hold on to. And I don't have anything to hold on to right there. Let's see if we can get it started a little bit better. Put it down. There we go. Alrighty, and I think we're going to lay this one this way. And I am going to come right to the end of this gold foil. And this foil is such a rich, beautiful, I mean, gorgeous. And I could see this card being done in different colors and using a silver foil. You could use some glimmer paper. Just so many different things that you could do with this. Now look at these. Aren't they gorgeous? I think those are beautiful. But when we put them on this card, and what I'm going to do is I want to bring them just like that. I'm trying to decide if I want to pop them up, because I'm going to do the ones on each side first. I think that will help me get that middle one more even. And you know what? I think I am going to use dimensionals on these. So let's pull out, or do I want to use dimension? No, we're going to do these straight down. I'm going to continue to use my snail. And look, no trouble that time. Snail, I mean my Stampin' Seal. I have got to learn the proper terminologies for these things, because y'all need to know the right name for it. So if you want to go and order it, and our new website, I don't know if you saw my video on the new website. It is so easy to use now. It's so user-friendly. You don't have to have all those long numbers anymore. All you need is the name of the product. You type it in the search, it takes you right to it, and you can click it, put it in your cart, or you can save it in your wish list. So you can actually go in and make yourself a wish list. You can also set up where you have in your wish list, you can change the title, and like if you already have some Stampin' Up! Products and you want to make sure that you don't order it again because you already have it, you can actually set it up in there and show like all your stamp sets that you have, title it My Stamp Sets, and you can set it up like that. So go over and take a look at that new like section in you have to sign in order to get that, so you have to be registered on my site. But it is fantastic. I am loving the new site. So if you haven't had a chance to go and check it out, go over and take a look. I think you'll be impressed. Alright, this one I'm going to put over on this side, and I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to try to even it up, just like that. And I want to make sure that I'm getting the same amount all the way up, just like that. So these are the little things that you need to do to just give a little TLC to your project when you're making it. Just be careful when you're putting your pieces down. That can mean everything, because sometimes we get in a hurry. We want to see the final end of our project, and sometimes we get in too big of a rush. And I've done it. I'm sure you've done it. Every crafter out there has done that at some point in their life. I think this one's going to go like this. So again, I'm going to make sure that I come up right at the same point that I did there. And I'm going to be really careful putting this down. And I'm just going to make sure that it is the same all the way up. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. That's pretty all by itself. But we're not done. So we are going to take the other piece of this Rich Razzleberry, And I am going to cut off a piece that we can actually make our little tag out of. So I'm going to use these Stitch So Sweetly dies. Now, you know, I go to these all the time. I love all of these, and I love these layering squares. We're going to be concentrating on the two larger ones here. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. This die set is one that you will find you use over and over. So I am going to lay that one right there. And I'm going to cut off just a piece big enough. And I didn't have any scraps of this because the reason I know I didn't is I opened this pack brand new. So what I do when I'm going to cut off a piece that I just need big enough for the die, I'll lay the die on my piece of paper. And this is just another way to keep from wasting your paper. And I'll get it pretty close to where I need it. Then I'll move my die. And then I'll just slice off that piece. And I know now that I have a piece, so I'm just going to come over here. I've got my Stampin' Up! Cut and emboss machine right over here by me. So I'm going to lay this on. There's no need in bringing it over. Any of you that have die cut, you know exactly what I'm doing. I'm just laying my, I'm making my sandwich, and then I'm going to crank this through. This die machine, go over and take a look at the demos that's been done on this machine. I've got a couple on my channel. It cuts like a dream. Now look how pretty that's going to be. Right about there. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. And you can center this up by using this as your guide. Such a cute card. Okay, the other thing I'm going to need to do is grab some Whisper. I'm wondering if I want to use the Whisper White or do I want to use the Very Vanilla. Let me go and pull both of those out and look at them, and then I'll be right back and let you know which one I decided to use. I'll be back. Alright, I did find what I was looking for, and this is not the Very Vanilla. I am out of Very Vanilla. So what I am using is this Shimmery White, and this is beautiful. It has just ever so slightly a shimmer to it, and it does match the white in this. It matches perfectly. This is not a Very Vanilla. It's whiter than that, but it's not the same color of the Whisper White. It's a little bit more vanilla-y. So that's the reason I chose that. So I'm cutting down my piece just about the size I need it for my die. And again, I'm going to line it up just about like that. And then I'm going to slice it. And I'm going to take this over and cut this out, and we'll be back with that piece. And then we can do our stamping. We all like to do our stamping, so that's the fun part. You hear that pop, which is very normal when you're using your die cut machine. So don't be alarmed or think that you broke your machine. It is what it does. It pops. Okay, let's move our trimmer out of the way. And I am going to grab my little Stampin' mat. These things are fantastic, and I am going to be using photopolymer because this is a photopolymer stamp set. And I am, in fact, I think I'm going to stamp this little flower inside my card, so I'm going to lay that one out. And I am going to grab this birthday stamp. And I want to put it right here. Birthdays are the best days. And that's going to go right about there. So I'm going to grab a stamp block. And we're going to pick this up. But I'm going to tell you what I always do before I pick up my stamps. I put them on my grid. You can use the grid paper, or if you use a grid like this, this is my glass mat that I love. So I'm just I'm just putting it right here, and I'm lining it up where I get the straightest line on a line. This works for me so well, and it keeps my stamp straight. So now I know that my stamp is straight on my block. That'll make it easier for me to get it stamped straight on here. So I'm thinking the Rich Razzleberry. And I'm also going to want to use a piece of ribbon, and I haven't decided which piece of ribbon I want to use, but I think I'm going to go with this Rich Razzleberry. So I am going to, I want to stamp this, the stamp, but I'm taking and just rubbing my fingers against it. I find that the oil from your hands will condition these stamps and make them stamp so beautifully. But I am going to get just a little piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to pull some paper out of my pad, and I'm just going to double it, and I'm going to lay it right here, and I'm going to stamp that stamp on here first, just to make sure that it is stamping the way I want it. Oh, it's beautiful. Yep. Okay. Now I'm going to clean it because I do like to start with a, well, you know what? Maybe we'll just do this. And see, I got some ink on my block, and that's what you don't want to do, because if that gets on your card, you are going to have a mess. So, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out my stamp cleaner, my Stampin' Scrub. I just love the way Stampin' Up! Names all of their stuff with Stampin' this and Stampin' that, the Stamparatus, the Stampin' cut and emboss machine, you know, your Stampin' pads. Everything is a Stampin' something, and I love that. Alright, as you can see, this will stain your photopolymer stamps, but we're going to use some stamp cleaner on that in just a minute. I want to go ahead and get this stamped first, so I'm going to ink that up. I'm being gentle, but yet making sure that I get it covered really well. And I'm going to come right over it. Now make sure y'all can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to stamp that down right in the middle, just like that. And isn't that pretty? Very, very pretty. So now, while this is drying, I'm going to sit that over there. I'm going to close up my ink pad. And I am going to grab some of my Stampin' Mist, which is right up here. Doesn't take but a little. And now we're going to scrub this stamp off. And even though it's stained from the Rich Razzleberry, anytime you're dealing with the higher pigmented inks, you are going to get some staining. But this stamp is completely clean. I mean, I can stamp it on my hand and there's no ink whatsoever. So that is a clean stamp, even though it's a stained stamp. And you know what I say about a stained stamp? A stained stamp is a love stamp, because that means you've used it. Alright, we're going to pull our card back down, and I am going to pop this up on here. I want it to be lifted just a little bit, so we're going to use our Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to actually pop both pieces of this up because I just think it will be pretty like that. So let's put some dimensionals on here. And I'm just going to put a couple on each corner and a couple in the middle. That's all we need. Now I am going to grab that take your pick tool because I love to take these off like this. And ever since I saw a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I think Lisa Curcio was the first one I saw do this, and I love that because they're all wrangled and I can put them on the trash, and then I don't have them all over my craft room, which I like that. It makes cleanup a lot easier. Now I'm going to kind of hold this over like that, and making sure I've got about the same amount, and that looks good. So I'm going to commit, and now that piece is ready to go on our card. Now I do want to grab, you know, I don't think I am going to use ribbon on this. I think it's going to take away from, I'm looking to see if I see anything that really would make this pop, and the only thing that I see, and I think I have some of this, hang on, let me grab some gold ribbon. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I found this little piece of ribbon. Now I know Stampin' Up has some gold ribbon like this, and I'm not sure if this was Stampin' Up or if this was just something I had, because I just had the small piece. But I think it's going to be beautiful on here because it matches that foil. So I know, like I said, I know there's some Stampin' Up, but you might already have some ribbon like this. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do to make this stick right in the middle where I want it, because I want this to look like it's coming out from underneath in both directions. So I am going to put a glue dot right there. So let me grab my glue dots. And these are the mini glue dots. These things are fantastic because they're so wonderful for stamping your ink. I mean, holding down your ribbon is what I was trying to say. So I just take my picky tool, or my take your pick tool, and I grab one up like that, just on the edge of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over like I want it. And right here in the middle of my card, I'm going to put that glue dot down, just like that. And then I am going to stick this into it. And I'm going to grab another one, and I'm going to put it on top of the other piece of ribbon, just to hold it all in place so we can put our sentiment label down. So we got this one, and we're going to just lay it right on top of the other one. And then I am going to lay this into it, something like that. Just enough to get that little turn on the ribbon. And then this is going to come down right on top of that, but we're going to put it down with the dimensions. So here is our little Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to put one. What I want to do with this is I want to make sure that I'm anchoring it over top of that ribbon. So I'm going to try to leave the middle open so that ribbon can run through. So I am just going to put one of these on each side, top and bottom. So then we're just going to pop these off. Just like that. And then we are going to put this down just about like this. Birthdays are the best days. Isn't that gorgeous? I love how pretty this card is. Now on the inside, I am going to cut another piece of this shimmery, beautiful cardstock, and I'm going to cut this at 4 by 5 1/4. So this is going to be our mat that you would normally make for an A2 size card. 5 1/4. So 4 by 5 1/4, and I am going to use that punch again because I have fallen in love with this punch. If I can get my Bella girl out of my way, new baby girl. She is laying right in front of my bottom drawer, and that's where I keep this. I showed this punch the last time I did a card. You've got a corner rounder, you've got a hole punch, and you've got this little decorative edge. I'm probably going to wear that edge out, the decorative edge, because I think it's so pretty. So I'm only going to do this on 2 corners because I want to punch I want to stamp on one of the other corners. So I'm just going to do it here and here, and maybe just there and there, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on the other corners. Remember, I laid the stamp out, and I think what I want is right there and right here. And I want to do it in that raspberry, the Rich Razzleberry. So let's get our little Stampin' mat out again. It's called a Stampin' Pierce mat. Get the right name. It's not showing in the catalog, but when you go to the site, if you want to purchase one of these, and I'm telling you, for the photopolymer stamps, this thing is the bomb. So if you want to get one of those, just type in, and it's called the Stampin' Pierce mat, and it will come up. They forgot to put it back in the catalog. I think they were going to discontinue it, and then they got so much I guess static over it that they decided to bring it back, which I'm so glad they did. Let me grab my Rich Razzleberry again, and for this one I think I'm going to do what they call second generation, or stamp off, stamp on, and I am going to bring back out this piece of paper that I used a while ago, and I'm going to get a different stamp block. I think this one will work. And what I want to do is I want to ink it and stamp it. Let's ink it up again. Okay, we're going to stamp off there and then stamp on here. And you're going to see how pretty it is. It looks very faint, but very delicate. I think for the inside of a card, this is gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? All right. So now we need to decide what we're going to do our sentiment for the inside. And I want something that's just going to say happy, happy, happy birthday. So let me run and find some stamps that will help me out in that department, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I am back, and what I wanted to show you is I did find a stamp set that I want to use called Here's a Card, and it says happy birthday. I made this card. I made you a card because you're worth it. And then I wanted to personalize it with Happy Birthday Angel. With her name being Angel, she never is able to find anything that's personalized because Angel is not a commonly known name. She can find Angie and Angela, but never just Angel. So I have this stamp set called Make a Difference, and it is a cursive alphabet along with a printed alphabet, and it has numbers, and it's got some little things down here, some little ditties like hand stamped by, hashtag make a card, handcrafted just for you, created by, it has a Stampin' Up! Logo. It's got a lot of little things down here that you can use with it. It is 143 pieces to the stamp set. It's intimidating because you want the print to come out, and I printed this freehanded, and this is what I got, or stamped it freehanded. So here's our card, or our mat for the inside, and I want to put Happy Birthday up here. And I am going to use an ink that Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry. And I know this is kind of taboo, but for my sentiments, I love this particular ink. So I am going to pick up my Happy Birthday. Now this doesn't really need to be on a foam pad because this is a cling stamp and it already has the foam in it. But I'm going to just go ahead and stamp with where it's at. Happy birthday. Beautiful. I need to clean my mat because I've got the raspberry ink on it. So my other stamps are not wanting to clean as well as they would normally. So I'll just take that to the sink when I'm done and take care of that. Now the other one that I wanted to put on here was I made you a card because you're worth it. And I made you a card because you're worth it. And I'm going to put this down here. And that'll give me this middle space to try to get Angel in. Or I'll tell you what, let's go ahead, let's do the hard part. Let's go ahead and see if we can do her name. And I'm going to try to put it right there. Y'all can hear my Bella, she's snoring. Okay, let's take the L off. And I'm going to pick up that A. And I'm going to ink it up. And I'm going to stamp it right under here. A. Beautiful. Oops, I've got an E or something stuck to my finger. These stamps are tiny, so they are wonderful because you can personalize stuff. You can put someone's initials on their card. And I thought about doing that, and then I thought, no, maybe I just need to, I would be so nice just to do her name. Okay, that's A. Now let's get the N. I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to see if I can stamp that right about here. That looks good. Then we're going to grab the G and get that inked up. This will give you a chance to see how these stamps work, because I know a lot of times you'll see stamps in the catalog and you're wondering, would that really work? Well, yes, it does take a little finesse, and it takes a little patience, but it's so worth it, especially if you're making a card for someone that's special and that you want to show that you took the time to personalize. And I think we just about got it, and I think I would suggest doing it letter by letter. I love it. I really think it turned out really good. I'm going to bring that up to the camera. And I think it turned out really good. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this one on a stamp block. I made you a card because you're worth it. So, and she didn't get my card last year that I sent her, and I still to this day don't know why. I sent her sister a card and she got hers, but Angel said she never received hers. There we go. That's beautiful. All right. So now I think we're to a point where we can go ahead, and I'm going to lay these stamps on here, and I will put them away after the video. Those are very tiny and tedious. So, alright, so what we need to do now is put this inside our card. So there's our card, and then the inside is going to look like this. And I love it. And for this one, I am just going to use some liquid glue, because I think that the liquid glue will work fine for this. And it will also allow me to get around these little edges right in here. So I'm just going to swirl some glue